This time, I would like to begin by discussing the vacancy rates of office buildings in China. On this channel, we have previously talked about rising office building vacancies in major cities across China. In October, an article was published on this topic, so I'd like to share what's currently happening. Please take a look. The article's title is something along the lines of office building vacancy rates soar. This trend has been noted for quite some time now. In cities like Shanghai and Beijing, many office spaces are sitting empty, and companies that lease office buildings to businesses are finding themselves in financial difficulty. This situation has persisted and even worsened. Now, let's look at specific numbers. The overall vacancy rate for office buildings in Shanghai is currently 21.5%, the worst figure in 20 years. For Wuhan, while not an overall citywide figure, a specific area's office vacancy rate is at 39%, even worse than in Shanghai. Meanwhile, Beijing's overall vacancy rate is at 20.6%, marking a 15-year high. In certain office buildings, the vacancy rate has even reached 65%, which suggests that the building owners are operating at a loss. Constructing office buildings involves taking on significant debt, and if rent revenue isn't enough to cover debt payments, losses are inevitable. With a vacancy rate of 65%, it's likely that debt repayments are higher than rent income. Many such buildings exist in China today, which is a nightmare for owners. And for banks lending to these companies, there is concern that loan payments may cease. Although the Chinese government has been channeling funds to support companies in the real estate sector, it may be challenging to assist those whose finances are under severe strain due to high vacancy rates. Now, let's move on to why vacancies are increasing. The article explains that, first of all, there is simply too much supply compared to demand. This is a systemic issue affecting China's entire real estate sector, not just office buildings. Too many buildings are being constructed, which has resulted in an excess of available space. Secondly, companies that previously rented offices in high-rent downtown areas like Beijing and Shanghai are relocating to cheaper areas. This is because the economic downturn has made rent costs more burdensome. As a result, premium office properties in central areas are also experiencing increased vacancies. Another factor is the way companies are now using office space. Similar to trends in Japan, some companies are moving from one desk per employee to shared desks, where multiple employees use the same desk. This means less office space is needed, which, in turn, leads to increased vacancies. When we previously discussed China's rising office building vacancies, many viewers commented that remote work could be a factor. The article, however, does not mention remote work as a reason for increased vacancies. While telecommuting may be prevalent, many companies still maintain office spaces even if employees work from home, so the impact may be limited. An article from last year noted that roughly half of China's internet users, about 537 million people, use remote work tools. However, this statistic doesn't necessarily mean these people avoid the office altogether. In China, remote work can also mean freelancers who, similar to sole proprietors in Japan, take on jobs from companies while working from home. Many of these individuals are programmers, and they sometimes take on projects from foreign companies through online platforms connecting them with overseas clients. While this trend allows skilled programmers to secure income despite a sluggish domestic economy, it raises some concerns from a Japanese perspective. For instance, personal data and other sensitive information must be protected to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands, as such information could make individuals a target for criminals. Systems handling personal information should ideally be developed by trusted domestic companies and engineers to ensure data security. If a programmer with malicious intent has access to a system, they could potentially create security gaps, allowing unauthorized access later. Remote work today extends across borders, but when it comes to developing critical systems or handling personal data, it's important to have strict protocols. Ranking the importance of systems and data and restricting access for high-stakes projects to authorized companies and personnel could help prevent potential exploitation. These were my thoughts on remote work and data security. That's all for today's discussion, and I'll see you in the next video.